Hi guys, it's Kirsten from WVIA, and I am a K through 12 certified educator in both Pennsylvania and New Jersey. And today we're going to focus on pre-K to second grade. We're going to focus on the little ones. And if you've noticed, it's a lot warmer outside than it has been in the past. That's because we're in a new season called spring. And today we're going to go on a little adventure. We're going to learn about spring. We're going to talk about the 4 seasons, and then we're going to go outside and look at signs of spring. So we're going to take a little nature walk. So I hope you're excited, and I hope you're ready, because we're going to get started right now. Okay, everyone, we're going to learn about the seasons today. And so we're going to start by looking at some fun facts about the seasons so that we understand. And then we're going to go focus on spring outside. So spring is one of the 4 seasons. We have spring, summer, fall, and winter. Each one of these pictures that you see represents a season. So on the left, we have spring. Everything is just blooming, so it's light green. When we get to summer, everything is nice and green and full. When we go to autumn, the leaves begin changing colors. There's oranges and browns and yellows. And then in winter, we see that the trees have lost their leaves and are resting. The first season we're going to look at is winter. Interestingly enough, we just left the season of winter, and that's when things are much colder outside. Winter is the season that comes after fall, which we'll talk about, and before spring. Winter is usually the coldest time of year, and in some places, it brings freezing temperatures, snow and ice with it. Even places that don't get snow or freezing cold weather still have a winter season. I'm from northern Wisconsin. We have a lot of snow in winter. Here are a few ways to tell that it's winter, other than snow and cold. The days are shorter and the nights are longer than during any other season. So when you look outside at 5 o'clock and it looks like it's dark, that's because it's winter and the days are short, the nights are much longer. The sun doesn't usually shine warmly on the earth during the winter, even on the brightest days. So things are much colder in the winter than the other seasons. Trees and plants usually go dormant, like they're sleeping, and you'll see more brown than green in their color. And then lastly, winter is a wet season with lots of rain and snow. So you see that in the picture we have there, we have lots of snow on the ground. The trees don't have leaves. And obviously, because of all that, that's considered the wet season. Next is summer. So we're going to take a look at the season of summer. In this time of year, days become warm and hot and really long, while nights in this season are the shortest. So your days are longer, there's more daylight and less nighttime. Summer is the best time to plant flowers and grow and flourish and blossom. So when you are looking outside and you see your parents or your family or your friends planting a garden, it's because summer is the time for plants to grow and flourish or to thrive. Due to the warm days and, the warm and sunny days, they are growing very quickly. Summer for animals is one of the best time of year as well. They have a lot of food to eat, places to live, and due to warm weather, they don't need special shelters, unless, of course, it's raining. So we see that the little bunny in the picture, there's lots of grass and leaves and foliage, which are leaves, plants, flowers, for the rabbits to eat. You see the butterfly on the flower, probably getting pollen or nectar, and maybe eating off of that particular plant as well. Those are all in abundance during the summer months. Next is autumn, or we call fall. Autumn is the season that is full of changes within nature. It is also a fun time of year when people around the world celebrate and give thanks. So typically, your Thanksgiving holiday, not typically, it always is in the fall, in November. Now, look at that picture. There's beautiful colors in that picture. You see red, yellow, orange, and brown. are the colors of the leaves before they fall to the ground, which is a big reason why we call it fall. Autumn, as I said, sometimes called fall, is one of the 4 seasons of the year and is the time of year that transitions summer into winter. Along with the tree leaves changing colors, the temperatures grow colder. Plants stop making food, animals prepare for the long months ahead, and the daylight starts growing shorter. And now we come to spring. We are in spring right now, guys. Spring is the season when cold winter temperatures gradually rise to the warmth of summer months. Spring is the time of year when the hours of daylight are equal to the hours of darkness. So we have just as many hours of daylight in the daytime as we do hours of night or darkness at night. Many flowering plants bloom at this time of year in a long succession, sometimes beginning when the snow is still on the ground and continuing into early summer. For me, we had a little snow on the ground, but I still had daffodils blooming. So we see that many flowers do bloom just simply because it's that time of year, spring, and the warmer weather is coming. So did you learn a lot in that slideshow? It was very brief, just a quick summary of all the seasons. So we looked at spring, we looked at summer, we looked at autumn or fall, and we looked at winter. So because we're in spring and everything around us is blooming and changing and things are getting warmer, we're going to go outside on a nature walk and take a look at what signs of spring we can find. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay guys, on our nature walk today, we're going to look for some interesting signs of spring and the animals that come out when it gets warmer. So I'm standing here by a small puddle of water on my property, and I found an animal you might be interested in taking a look at. So I'm just going to come in here and zoom in for you. So if we look real carefully, there's Mr. Frog. Look at that. He's just hanging out. Now, this particular frog is definitely noticing that I'm here, but his friends have already jumped into the water. But he's a pretty neat looking guy. Not real big, but he's very hard to see. So if I were just walking and wasn't trying to pay attention to the animals around, I might have missed him because he's camouflaged. If you notice that he blends in nicely with the greenery around him. And if I take a step, well, I thought he'd move. He's not really moving. So he's a brave frog. Look at that. So I'm not sure what I'll name him. Maybe Hugh. He looks like a Hugh to me. But I'm quite sure that he would prefer me to not be scoping him out. So I'm going to move on, but isn't that neat? Our little frog friend. Here's another neat scene that I've got in my backyard. I'm at my pond right now, as you can see. And I've got a couple of fish just swimming around here, minding their own business. They are pretty small, so these are juveniles, but it's neat to see that the fish are out and moving around. Let me see if I can get a little closer without losing my microphone. But they seem intrigued by me a little bit. Coming over here wondering, who is that talking? But like I said, they're relatively small. Let's go see if we can find some bigger fish. Here's another interesting sign of spring, the big bumblebees. I'm not going to get too close. I'm not a big fan of bees, but that's a pretty sizable bee we have here. So would you look at that? Oh, I think he figured out that I'm standing here, so we're going to move on. But that was pretty neat. Something really cool. This is a small newt. Actually, there's two of them. And they're just hanging out, swimming around. Oh, isn't that neat? They usually swim around in the shallow waters of our pond. And these are amphibious, so they actually can come out of the water as well as stay inside. He really has no clue that I'm here because he's coming real close. I'm getting lots of glare, but he's pretty neat. If you can see, unfortunately I got the sun glare, but let's see if I could get him back. Well, you know what? He's being tricky now. There he is. There's the little guy. Pretty cool, right? And his buddy, if I can get over to him, is right here, and he's like in that, well, he's stuck. Oh, poor little guy. There you go. He's just a little bit tangled in the weeds. I'd help him, but I'd probably scare the bejeebers out of him. Most likely he'll be just fine. He's just got his little leg stuck. He's probably thinking, where's my buddy? So those are some pretty neat little animals. And then if you look above, you can see some minnows. I don't know if you can see or not, but there's lots of minnows in this part as well. But we're gonna move on and look at other animals at the pond, but that was pretty neat. So now this one I'm not real happy about, but I believe in education and showing you everything. So look what I found. Not sure what kind of spider that is, but he's a big one. And he exists he's actually very happy right on the water's edge. And he's just hanging there. Now, if I were to move suddenly, he would certainly dart. They can run a little ways on the water, but because I'm standing here, I don't necessarily want to risk having him run towards me. So I'm gonna stop filming so I can get away. But there's an interesting waterside spider for you. Now we're under my pavilion, and I'm going to show you a nest that a robin has built. And unfortunately, I just chased her away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the nest. It's just very simple. And then I'm going to come back and maybe she'll be in her nest. I think there are eggs up there, so she's being protective of those eggs, of her young. But still neat. So we'll come back and see Mrs. Robin taking care of her nest. Another sign of spring is, of course, the leaves budding on the trees. This particular tree is a willow tree, and if we get up close to the leaves, you can see these are long, slender, and when this tree has fully grown and it's in the middle of the summer, its leaves actually dip down. Sometimes this is called a weeping willow, but it's a beautiful tree. And we put it right by the water's edge so we can sit and look at the pond. Here's another tree on the property, and this is a horse chestnut. So if you take a look, you can see those buds are quite large, and they're at the tips of the branches. This is a tree that's going to produce a chestnut, so that'll be exciting. But definitely an interesting bud in terms of the leaves. Unlike the willow, there's only one at the very end of each branch. So you can see that. So that is a horse chestnut tree. I'm hoping you can hear that without all this wind, and I'm sorry for the wind, but listen real carefully. The frogs are making a lot of noise. pretty surprised that our friend Hugh is still here. So I'm gonna just give him a little tap so he, see, into the water he goes. Still, that was pretty neat. He is a brave frog. Now, here is another tree. As you can see, the buds have started. This is a Honeycrisp apple tree. So, more buds than the horse chestnut. Totally different leaf than the willow. And one day, this will yield nice big Honeycrisp apples. Pretty neat. And then another attribute of spring is, of course, the dandelion. We've got lots of those everywhere. You just look anywhere that has grass and you will likely see dandelions. Did you know you can eat a dandelion? I wouldn't recommend it, but they have been placed in salads. There's even tea. Okay guys, look at that. Now that is a big frog. The other one we saw was little bitty. This one's a big one. He's just sitting there looking at me, wondering what I'm doing. Well, we're gonna step away. Oh, there he goes. That was my bad. I stepped too hard. Well, that was neat, right? Okay, I told you guys we were coming back. We're gonna take a look at the bird's nest. I've got the robin back in the bird's nest, and she's probably protecting her eggs, waiting for them to hatch. She definitely knows I'm here. I don't think she'll fly away just yet. She usually hangs out with me for a while. But there are little baby bird eggs, and she's sitting on them, making sure that they're safe, keeping them warm. Although it is a warm day today, so she's got good conditions. But as you can see, she just sits quietly, watching over her young. Oops, sorry. A little bit of wind. I apologize when the wind blows. It always creates a little problem with the microphone. But there's our mama, Robin. And I'm gonna leave her be, but at least we got to see her. Now this is a beautiful scene of the creek, but if you look at this tree right in front, actually it's a shrub or a bush, you'll notice, and I'm going to get a little closer, that there are thorns all over it. Can you see those? So these thorns here protect the bush. This is actually a black raspberry bush. So in the summer, around end of June, beginning of July, this has lots of black raspberries on them. But with the black raspberry comes the thorns. So you have to be really careful when you pick them, not to get poked by one of the thorns. But this is certainly a good sign of spring with the buds on the branches. We know that we're going to have black raspberries soon. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that nature walk with me today and seeing all the signs of spring. We got to see some animals coming out and getting used to the warmer weather, like the frog and unfortunately, the spider. And then we also got to see some plants and trees that are blooming as of now as well because of the warm weather. I hope you enjoyed the nature walk. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. And I hope you keep watching PBS Kids so you can keep learning at home during this time. We hope you have a great day and enjoy the next show on WVIA TV.
I have some indelible images in my mind. In India, when I saw tigers for the first time, in the Pantanal in Brazil, I had never seen a jaguar in all that time. And suddenly, over 4 days, I saw 8 different jaguars. I remember coming into the lodge after I saw my first jaguar with tears streaming down my face because it was such an indelible and beautiful thing to see this great female in the wild. Well, the reason people need to care about, I think, all living things is it's such a complex issue. We can't understand the complexity of the interconnectedness of everything in the world, so we have to go on faith that it's important to save them. We have a declining population of insects globally right now. Some populations have crashed as much as 90%. And when you don't have the littlest things alive and turning the soil over and feeding the next generation of amphibian or whatever it may be, or birds, then go right up the food chain, and pretty soon we're going to be not healthy. Well, you can find endangered species almost everywhere, but we're talking about the large mammals. They're the ones that are having the rough time on the planet and the ones that are really going extinct the fastest. Thailand, Asia in particular, there's still an ongoing trade, unfortunately, in ivory and tiger skins, lots for medicinal purposes. They're moving to jaguars in Central America, Central and South America, and selling jaguar potions and things like this. Indonesia is really suffering from a loss of a lot of reptiles that are being captured for the pet trade and for skins and so on, and also birds. My love of birds began at a really, really early age. Birds are the canaries in the mine. If the bird did not sing in the mine, you knew that the air was bad and you better get out of there. Birds are still the canaries in the mine because they go everywhere. They go places that we cannot go. And if you protect the birds, you're protecting the water that is everywhere, the soil that is everywhere, and the air that is everywhere. So if you protect birds, you're saving a lot of the environmental problems today you're solving. It all starts with science. We need scientific data to understand the animals. It's not pure, it's not sound all the time, but it's the best that we can do. And then we have education of all of us by the scientists. After that, we have regulation and solutions to the problems. I can get very depressed and in despair sometimes, particularly when you see these magnificent elephants or cats killed. The way we can protect them is mainly through anti-poaching efforts. Nepal, for example, right now has a wonderful record of protecting their tigers and what elephants are left there because they've brought in the military. So they have a very good record of no poaching right now because poachers know they ain't gonna get in there, and they're probably going to be incarcerated if they do. What I tell people is no matter where you are in the world, your own neighborhood, your own backyard is something that you can be protective of and aware of. You don't have to use sprays, you don't have to use herbicides of any kind or pesticides. There's other alternatives, there really are, that will work as well. I am always hopeful for the future, yes. We're going to lose a lot of species, but a lot of these species will be saved. They'll be in mega zoos or preserves. A lot of the tiger preserves in India are simply mega zoos. They're huge parks that are managed and with anti-poaching squads. We have to go on faith that there's things that we don't know, and these animals and all sentient beings are going to teach us, and they're going to make us healthy, keep us healthy.